Hello, it's Valerie of Valereads and welcome to another video. I haven't done a wrap-up or really talked about what I've been reading currently on this channel for a while, so I thought I would quickly catch you up on what I've been reading in May and June. First off, a few weeks ago I checked out Brian Lee O'Malley's latest project with Leslie Hung, which is called Snot Girl. I read volume 1 and I found it pretty disappointing. I knew going into it that it would be silly and ridiculous just based on the premise itself. If you don't know what it's about a fashion blogger who has allergies and she is trying desperately to hide that because allergies don't really coincide with her picture-perfect lifestyle. And it's about her and her vapid life and her vapid friends and her terrible love life. Although there is a little dark twist to it when she starts taking a new allergy medication and things start becoming a little strange and eerie. My main issue with it was just the humor wasn't really there for me. When writing about anything internet related, especially blogger culture and very vapid people, it's so easy to become kind of cringeworthy and not necessarily preachy, but just saying the same things over and over again about millennials. It just came off in a way that I just didn't really find funny and I found kind of lame. It was okay, but I don't know if I'll necessarily be eager to pick up the following volumes. After that, I read something that was really disappointing to me. I picked up My Cousin Rachel by Daphne du Maurier. Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier is one of my favorite books of all time. I was excited to pick this up, but also hesitant to pick it up because Rebecca set the bar so high and this really let me down. The basic premise of this is that we are following a young man whose guardian, who's also his cousin, goes off to Italy and marries a woman who's also their cousin. And within a few months of being in Italy and marrying this woman, he ends up dead. So of course this protagonist assumes that there's a bit of foul play going on and has this deep-rooted hatred for Rachel, who is his cousin, who is his cousin's wife. But when Rachel comes to visit, he is sort of grappling with his emotions and trying to figure out if he hates her or if he loves her, and it's just okay. I thought this would be a thrilling, gothic, femme fatale novel, and it really didn't deliver on that. A lot of this book was just talking about inheritance and money and whether or not Rachel is going to inherit all this money and get all these jewels, and it was pretty boring, to be honest. It did not live up to the hype. It did not live up to the movie trailer, which I saw previous to reading this, and it was just kind of a letdown. So I think I gave this like a weak 3 out of 5. Let me know which Daphne du Maurier novel you think I should pick up next. Jamaica Inn, Frenchman's Creek, please let me know because this one was a dud for me. Now I want to talk about 2 books that were sort of similar in themes. I read Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes as well as Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. And I'm talking about these 2 together because they both have protagonists that undergo a great metamorphosis. In Metamorphosis, of course, we have a man who wakes up and is just a cockroach for some reason. And in Flowers for Algernon, we have a mentally challenged man who undergoes an experiment which raises his IQ drastically and it changes his life. So these books sort of have opposite trajectories. In Metamorphosis, Gregor is at the top of his game. He is working really hard to support his family, and then suddenly he's of no use to them at all. He can't leave the house, he can't communicate, he can't do anything, and of course he can't earn money for his parents and his sister, so they just see him as a nuisance. And that's how Charlie is seen in the beginning of Flowers for Algernon. He's just working a very menial job, and then suddenly he becomes this genius and he's doing great things for science and he's really succeeding in life. So it was really interesting reading these in the same month because they reminded me a lot of each other. I did think Metamorphosis was good. I mean, what you see is what you get, really, with this premise, but I would have loved to study it in school and maybe get into the deeper meanings of it, but I just read it on my own, so I kind of had to piece it together myself, maybe do a bit of Googling. But I really did end up loving Flowers for Algernon, which I gave a 5 out of 5, and I consider among one of my favorites because it's just so heartbreaking from beginning to end, seeing how Charlie is treated both as a genius and as a man who's mentally challenged. It's really difficult to read at some points, but I thought it was done so well, especially the chapters when he's just becoming smarter and learning more about himself and tapping into these old memories that he couldn't really make sense of before. It was just so heartbreaking, really well done. I just really liked it. I don't really have any complaints about it either. Near the end of the book I was thinking, okay, maybe this is just like a really strong 4.5 or something because I hadn't cried yet and I was a few pages from the end, and then in those very last few paragraphs I just started tearing up because the last page of this book is absolutely heartbreaking and awful, and that's what made it a 5 out of 5 star book for me. So that goes to show if a book makes me cry, it gets at least a half star or a whole star extra in its rating. And after reading that, I read 2 short, pleasant, subtle books. I read Mon by Kim Thuy as well as Asleep by Banana Yoshimoto. This is a collection of 3 short stories all revolving around people sleeping and dreams and things like that. And then Mon is very similar to Rue by Kim Thuy, if you've ever read that. It has her telltale, sort of sparse, poetic writing in here, but this book is more about food and love affairs. But I don't really have much to say about either of these because the writers have such distinctive writing styles. So if you like Banana Yoshimoto, you're gonna like this, and if you like Kim Thuy, you're gonna like this. So yeah, these were very on brand, good, solid 3 out of 5 books. And that's what I've been reading lately. Like I said, nothing mind-blowing. I mean, I really loved Flowers for Algernon, so I'm hoping to pick up something that's at least like a 4 out of 5 because I'm sort of just in a pleasant reading state right now. But I need something life-changing right now. Please leave some recommendations down below. I'd really appreciate it. What have you been reading lately that really blew your mind? I would love to hear. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye!